Hello, and welcome to the Gamer's Closet. I'm your host, Douglas Wee, and today we're going to be talking about Fireball Island. Fireball Island is a board game manufactured by Milton Bradley in 1986. This is a roll, spin, and movement game, and it has a 3D board game board to it. The game seats 2 to 4 players, runs for about 45 minutes of game time, and is for ages 7 and up. But let's dig into it a little further, shall we?
Danger lurks on Fireball Island. More than a mere board game, it's a 3-dimensional adventure. Your quest, the Idle of Jewel.
Coward, I'll go first. A shortcut.
But it's not so easy. Mountains and chasms stand in your way.
Got it.
And beware, your foes are out to stop you with thundering fireballs.
Oh, stop her.
And collapsing bridges.
Oh, no. Got it. Oh, dog me.
And you don't win till you're off Fireball Island, the 3-dimensional adventure from Milton Bradley.
In 1986, Milton Bradley released Fireball Island. In this game, you have to capture the Firestone Gem, which is guarded by the Idle of Vul-Kar, dodge fireballs, dodge your other players, and make it to the boat dock at the end of the island. The game was released in multiple countries, including the United States, the Netherlands, France, Italy, Canada, Spain, and Germany. In 2018, Restoration Games also released Fireball Island: The Curse of Vul-Kar, which is a restored version of Fireball Island after a successful Kickstarter campaign. This game does come with additional parts and cards, unlike the original. It also does have 5 additional playable expansions, but I will be discussing this particular version of Fireball Island in a different video. This game does come with multiple pieces. It comes with a pressed plastic game board, 4 plastic playing pieces, 1 3-piece idle, 2 2-piece bridges, 1 deck of 48 cards, 1 red jewel, 4 plastic tokens, 5 red fireball marbles, 1 die, and 1 rulebook. To set up this game, place the game board on a flat surface and refer to the photo here as the setup guide for this game. Place the idle head of Vul-Kar in the center of the board with the little gem next to it in the divoted circle in the board. Place the 2 bridges on the board so they line up as they show here. 4 marbles get placed on the 4 little volcano-looking pictures, with the final marble inside the head of Vul-Kar as pictured here. Shuffle the cards, then deal 1 card face down to each player. Place the remaining cards face down next to the game board to form a draw pile. You can look at your cards at any time, but keep them secret from your opponents. Choose a playing piece that you wish to start and place it on the start space, which is known as Dead Man's Plateau, and game continues from there. All players roll a dice. The highest goes first. Play continues to the left for each player. On your turn, you can do a couple of things. You can roll the dice, then move your playing piece along the trail, the number of spaces indicated on the die. As you move, count each space whether it's occupied or not. If you land on a space occupied by an opponent's playing piece, move to the next open space. Move your playing piece by full die count. Please note there may be some special spaces where you will have to stop that I will be going over in a moment. If you roll a 1 on the die, don't move your playing piece along the trail. Instead, you must roll a fireball, which I will also be going over in a moment. You can move along the trail in any direction as long as you don't move onto the same space twice during one move. Another option you have on your turn is playing cards, which I will also be going over in a moment. Once you've done all of these things, end your turn by passing the die to the left. The first such special space is Witchlord's Step, pictured here. When you land on or pass one of these spaces, you collect a magic charm token, pictured on the right, from the ruin. A magic charm token can be traded in on any one of your turns to give you a full hand of 4 cards. You can only collect 1 token during the game. When you trade in your token, return it to the ruin, and then take enough cards from the draw pile to fill your hand up to 4 cards. The next special space are dark trail spaces. Whenever you land on, not just pass over a dark trail space, take a card from the draw pile and add it to your hand. You have a 4-card limit. You can never have more than 4 cards in your hand at any one time, and never draw a card if you already have 4 of them in your hand. The next special space is Vul-Kar Point, where the jewel resides. This classifies as a dark gray space, so if you land on it, you will collect a card. You do not have to land on this space by exact count to capture the gem, though. After the gem has been captured, Vul-Kar Point may be used by players on Blister Run as a connecting space to the flash fire chute on the other side. The next special space are bridges. A bridge counts as a space on your die roll. If an opponent's playing piece already occupies a bridge, you may cross it without stopping. If there are no playing pieces on the bridge, you must stop your playing piece on the bridge, even if you haven't moved your full die count. The next special space are caves. There are 6 numbered caves on the game board. As an alternative to traveling along the trail, you may enter a cave, hoping for a shortcut to another trail. Counting the cave as a space on your die roll, move your playing piece into a cave from the trail space next to it. It is not necessary to land in a cave by exact die count. On your same turn, roll the die again, and move your playing piece into a cave that matches the number on the die. For example, if you roll a 5, move to cave 5. If the cave you roll is occupied by your own playing piece or an opponent's, leave your playing piece where it is. Don't roll again, and this is your turn. If you roll a 1 while in a cave, move to cave 1 and then roll a fireball, which I will again be going over in a moment. Before rolling the die on your next turn, declare whether you wish to enter a new cave or move out of your cave into the trail. Please note cave 4 is a dead end cave. From cave 4 you must re-roll the die and enter a new cave. When you do finally decide to move out of the cave onto the trail, roll the dice, then move along the trail, starting on the space next to the cave that you're exiting. Finally, there's the dock space. The dock space is the finished space of the game. You do not have to land on this by exact count. Whenever you roll a 1 on the die, you must roll one of the 5 fireballs down a trailway or rollway. Any playing piece hit as a result of the rolling fireballs are penalized. To roll a fireball, follow the following rules. If possible, the fireball you roll must hit at least one target along a trail. If all playing pieces are in a safe area except your own, you must choose your own playing piece as the target. Push, don't flick the fireballs down a trailway or rollway that leads to your target. If you're rolling the Vul-Kar fireball, turn Vul-Kar so that its mouth faces the chosen trailway or rollway. Then push the fireball through the tunnel out of Vul-Kar's mouth. When the fireball stops rolling, return it to its original location. If your playing piece is knocked down, moved, or even touched by a rolling fireball or by any other game part as a result of being fireballed, then it has been fireballed. Immediately place your playing piece on its side in the closest smolder pit closest to the trail that you are on. Any number of playing pieces may occupy the same smolder pit. On your next turn, place your playing piece upright in the smolder pit. You cannot roll, move, or play any cards on this turn. On your following turn, roll the die. Then move your playing piece out onto the trail, starting on the rock ship space right next to the smolder pit. If you happen to be fireballed while holding the jewel, place it in the rock ship trail space right next to the smolder pit. The jewel is now unowned, and the first player to move onto or past the rock ship space captures it. If your playing piece is knocked off of a bridge, it is also considered fireballed. Move it immediately to the water penalty area at the bottom of the stairs of Great Sway Bluff. You do not lose your next turn, however, to get back to the bridge again, you must climb the 5 trail spaces to the top of the bluff from the water's edge. If you own the jewel when fireballed on a bridge, place it on the bridge. The jewel is now unowned, and the first player to move onto the bridge captures it. To capture the jewel from Vul-Kar, roll the dice. Count the Vul-Kar point space as a point on your roll, move onto it, and then your turn ends there, even if you haven't moved your full die count. Take the jewel off the game board and place it in front of you. When you capture the jewel from Vul-Kar, you get a one-time bonus. On this turn, take enough cards to fill your hand from your draw pile back up to 4, roll any one fireball that you wish on the board, and then take 3 full turns in a row. If you own the jewel and the magic charm token, fit them together as shown here. Until you separate them by trading in the token or losing the jewel, no opponent can play the take one card from an opponent card on you. It is possible to steal the jewel by passing its owner on the trail or bridge. To steal the jewel, just take it from its owner as you pass. The final part of this game that needs to be discussed is playing your cards. You can play most cards anytime during your own turn or during an opponent's turn. There is no limit to the number of cards that can be played during a single turn. But remember, your card limit is 4. You can never have more than 4 cards in your hand at a time. Place the cards you play in a face-up discard pile next to the draw pile. If the draw pile runs out, shuffle the discard pile and turn it face down to create a new draw pile. There are a few cards that do need a few rule clarifications. The first one is Fate Jewel, pictured on the bottom right. Play this card only when an opponent tries to steal the jewel from you. You keep the jewel and the opponent must move on empty-handed. The next card needing a clarification is the Reroll Die card, pictured here up on the top right. If your first die roll was a fireball or anything else, ignore it and move on. Just re-roll the die and continue as normal. That first fireball or whatever the original die roll is completely ignored. The next card needing a clarification is the double the next die roll, pictured here on the top left. This card doubles the die roll. If you roll a 1, it is now classified as a 2, so you do not roll a fireball. The move ahead 4, 5, or 6 space cards may be played on you or on an opponent as long as it is before a die roll. And the final clarification is the move any opponent back 1, 2, or 3 space card. This card may not move players out of caves, smolder pits, or water penalty areas at the bottom of Great Sway Bluff. If one of these cards moves an opponent back onto an unoccupied bridge, that opponent must end their turn on that bridge. To win the game, you must be the first player to reach the dock with the jewel. Well, this has been an overview of Fireball Island. As you can see here, it is a large game. The game is very well constructed. It's a solid board. It has a lot of intricacies on it in art. It has little skeletons on the beach, creatures in the jungle, lava flows. It looks really, really nice. The game is very well organized. The first part of the game is the race up the hill to get the gem, but the second part of the game, where it gets a little more cutthroat, where you have players trying to steal the gem from each other, trying to make it to the boat dock, it gets a little crazy. The bridges look nice. It has a very heavy Indiana Jones feel. The game itself goes online anywhere from about $200. So it is out of print, but if you can find a copy of it, it is a very, very nice game. The game is very straightforward, very easy to play. The learning curve on it is not very difficult. The cards are very self-explanatory. So if you can find a copy of this game, I would recommend picking this game up. Honestly, this is one of my personal favorite games from my childhood. Due to the size of the game, it's a little hard to store, but it is well worth it if you do have the space for it. Like I said, if you can find a nice copy of this game, it's well worth it. They did release a Kickstarter of this game several years ago, but the Kickstarter is way different from the original. It has a lot of expansions to it. It has a lot of more intricacies to it. It has different features compared to the original, which was very straightforward and clear-cut. So the original one is a superior game, in my opinion. But that's my own personal opinion. But like I said, if you can find a copy of this game, I highly recommend playing this game. And I would say it's well worth your time. It is very kid-friendly. Well, that's it from us here at the Gamer's Closet. We'd like to thank you for checking out our video on Fireball Island from Milton Bradley. If there's a game in the future we'd like us to review or go over, please put it in the comments below. Please hit subscribe so that way you can be the first to check out our future content. And as always, please have a great gaming day.